Welcome back, brave souls, to our tale of shadow and destiny. When last we left our intrepid adventurers, they stood at the precipice of the unknown, their hearts still racing from battle, their spirits tested by the very essence of the Shadowfell. The air around them had been thick with the remnants of vanquished wraiths and the acrid scent of banished shadow demons. Victory had been hard won, each of our heroes bearing the invisible scars of their confrontation with the denizens of this twilight realm. Malveth, servant of the Raven Queen, alongside the enigmatic Shadar-kai twins, had extended an invitation, a night's respite within the hallowed halls of their mistress's temple. Kithri and Wyrmraex, weary from their otherworldly battle, had accepted, their footsteps echoing through ancient corridors as they ventured deeper into the sanctum. As the great obsidian doors of the temple creaked closed behind them, our heroes found themselves enveloped in a silence so profound it seemed to whisper secrets of ages long past. What visions await them in this realm, where the veil between life and death is but a gossamer thread? What truths will be revealed in the cold light of the Shadowfell's eternal dusk? Steel your nerves and open your senses, dear listeners, for we return now to the Temple of the Raven Queen, where every shadow holds a story, and every story holds the power to shape the very fabric of destiny itself. The weight of countless ages presses upon Kithri as she makes her way through the shadowed corridors of the shrine. Each step echoes softly, the sound swallowed by the vastness of the space around her. The air itself seems alive, humming with an energy that sets her very essence aflame with purpose. Intricate tapestries adorn the walls, their threads whispering tales of the Raven Queen's triumphs over chaos and undeath. As Kithri passes, the fabric seems to stir, creating a soft susurration that might be the voices of long-dead heroes or merely the product of an overactive imagination. The stone beneath Kithri's feet is worn smooth by the passage of countless devotees, each step producing a muted tap that seems to reverberate through the very foundations of the shrine. She enters a grand chamber, its scale apparent in the way her breath catches, the sound small and insignificant in the vastness. The vaulted ceiling is lost in a canopy of living shadows, their movements creating a soft, undulating whisper overhead. At the far end of the chamber, beneath a towering statue of the Raven Queen, kneels Malveth. His form is bathed in an otherworldly radiance that seems to hum with divine energy. The air around him vibrates with the low, almost subsonic resonance of his silent prayer. It's a sound felt more than heard, sending shivers down Kithri's spine and causing the hairs on her arms to stand on end. The statue of the Raven Queen looms above, its presence palpable even in the realm of sound. The faint rustle of ethereal feathers and the soft clink of phantom chains create an auditory illusion of movement, as if the goddess herself might step down from her pedestal at any moment.
By the silver void. There is power here, ancient and profound. I can feel it resonating within the very marrow of my bones.
My queen, weaver of fate's tapestry, guide your humble servant. Grant me the strength and wisdom to lead these chosen heroes through the trials that surely lie ahead. Ah, Kithri, I sensed your approach. The Raven Queen's gaze rests upon you, child of the astral plane.
I am honored, Malveth. Your faith. It shines like a beacon in these dark times.
The soft whisper of Kithri's footsteps echoes through the vast chamber as she approaches Malveth with reverent caution. Each step is measured, deliberate, the gentle clink of her armor a counterpoint to the shrine's profound silence. The very air seems to hold its breath, unwilling to disturb this sacred moment. As Kithri draws near, the ambient hum of divine energy intensifies, its resonance vibrating through her very bones. The sound is felt more than heard, a deep, subsonic thrum that sets her teeth on edge and makes her hair stand on end. Malveth rises, his movements fluid and graceful, creating a whisper of displaced air that seems to ripple through the chamber. As he turns to face Kithri, there's a subtle shift in the atmosphere, a change in pressure that makes her ears pop. Malveth's eyes shimmer with an inner light, the manifestation of divine communion almost audible in its intensity. There's a faint crackling sound, like static electricity as his gaze meets Kithri's. The air between them seems charged, alive with potential. Kithri's breath catches in her throat, the small sound surprisingly loud in the expectant silence. Her usual bravado gives way to quiet reverence, a change reflected in the sudden absence of the confident stride that typically marks her presence. Instead, there's a soft scuff as she shifts her weight, hesitating. The pause stretches, filled with unspoken words and the weight of the moment. In the background, the faint rustle of ethereal feathers from the Raven Queen statue provides a subtle, ongoing reminder of the divine presence that permeates this sacred space. As Kithri and Malveth stand face to face, the very stones of the shrine seem to resonate with anticipation. The ambient sounds, the distant drip of water, the whisper of unseen draughts, the soft creak of ancient timbers, all fade to near silence, creating an auditory void that begs to be filled. In this moment of profound quiet, the soft sound of Kithri swallowing hard is as clear as a bell, a testament to the gravity of the situation. The gentle inhale that follows, deep and steadying, seems to echo off the vaulted ceiling, heralding the breaking of this reverent silence.
I have walked the silver paths of the astral plane, Malveth. I have stood before Vlaakith, the Lich Queen of my people. Her power is vast, terrible to behold, and yet it pales in comparison to the wisdom and purpose I sense within you.
The gods move in ways beyond mortal comprehension, Kithri. I too have been touched by the divine. When I was but a lost child, alone in the vast expanse of the Shadowfell, the Raven Queen appeared to me. She took me under her wing, nurturing my faith and granting me the power to serve her inscrutable will.
You have seen her then? The Raven Queen herself?
Yes, her beauty is beyond mortal words. Her wisdom as infinite as the void between stars. She chose me, Kithri, just as she has chosen you and the others to stand against the rising tide of darkness that threatens to engulf all realms. Have faith, Kithri of the Githyanki. The road ahead is fraught with peril, but you do not walk it alone. The Raven Queen's blessings go with you, and I shall be by your side, a guide, a shield, and a friend in the darkness that is to come.
Thank you, Malveth. Your words, they bring a comfort to my soul that I have not known in many years.
The air in the chamber shifts, disturbed by Malveth's movement. There's a soft rustle of fabric as he extends his arm, followed by the gentle creak of leather and the faint clink of metal as his hand comes to rest on Kithri's shoulder. The touch is a comforting weight, its impact resonating beyond the physical. It's as if the very air around them exhales, the ambient hum of divine energy softening to a gentle, almost melodic vibration. Kithri's sharp intake of breath at the contact is audible in the hushed chamber, a sound that speaks volumes of surprise and sudden grounding. Together, they stand in reverent silence. The quiet between them is not empty, but filled with unspoken understanding, a shared reverence that needs no words. Their synchronized breathing, slow and deep, creates a gentle rhythm that seems to pulse in harmony with the shrine's ethereal energy. Above them, the statue of the Raven Queen looms, her presence palpable even in the realm of sound. There's a subtle change in the air around the statue, a deepening of the silence that suggests a boundary between worlds. The faint rustle of unseen feathers and the whisper of phantom chains create an auditory illusion of movement, as if the goddess herself breathes with her chosen. The black gaze of the Raven Queen, though carved from stone, seems to pierce the veil between realms. As Malveth and Kithri stand united before their deity, the ambient sounds of the shrine, the distant drip of water, the soft groan of ancient timber, the whisper of draughts through unseen passages, all seem to recede. They create a cocoon of silence around the pair, emphasizing the significance of this shared moment of devotion. The next morning begins as the heavy doors of the Raven Queen's shrine groan open, the sound echoing across the desolate expanse of the Shadowfell. Kithri, Wyrmraex, Malveth, Lyra, and Kaelin emerge to begin their journey to the portal that leads back to the material plane. The bleak landscape stretches before them, a canvas of muted greys and deep purples. The wind, if it can be called that, is a hollow whisper that carries the faint echoes of long-forgotten sorrows.
So, a half-dragon and a Githyanki walk into the Shadowfell. Sounds like the start of a bad tavern joke, doesn't it?
I'll bet there's a punchline in there somewhere. Probably involves us all getting eaten by shadow beasts.
The twins' laughter, a discordant duet in the sombre landscape, hangs in the air like a miasma. It's swiftly swallowed by the Shadowfell's gloom, leaving behind a silence more profound than before. The soft creak of leather and the faint clink of metal signal Wyrmraex and Kithri's reactions. Their breathing, once steady, now comes in short, controlled bursts, a telltale sign of thinly veiled irritation. The twins' ill-timed banter hangs heavily in the air, a stark contrast to the oppressive atmosphere of the Shadowfell. The realm itself seems to recoil from the attempted levity, the ambient whispers growing more insistent, more mournful.
We're not here for your amusement, Shadar-kai. This is no laughing matter.
Our mission carries the weight of worlds. Save your jests for when we get to a safe place.
Lyra, Kaelin, enough. We approach the portal and we must be prepared for anything. The Shadowfell does not easily relinquish its grasp.
The twins fall silent, chastened by Malveth's words. The group presses on, the gravity of their responsibilities settling over them like a funeral shroud. As the group resumes their journey, the rhythm of their footsteps has changed. There's a new urgency in their pace, a barely contained frustration evident in the harder fall of boots against the ashen ground. The twins' soft footfalls now seem out of sync with the group, their usual fluid grace disrupted by the palpable tension. The portal's distant hum grows louder, its pulsing call a welcome distraction from the awkward aftermath of the joke. The party arrives at the designated portal location, their footsteps faltering as an eerie stillness descends. The hum of the portal recedes, leaving behind a silence so profound it rings in their ears. They wait, the tension mounting with each agonizing heartbeat. Kithri's measured breathing, Wyrmraex's soft growl, the twins' synchronized exhales, and Malveth's whispered prayer create a discordant symphony of anticipation. Suddenly, the oppressive silence of the Shadowfell shatters. A new sound cuts through the air, sending icy tendrils of fear down their spines. It starts as a low rumble, felt more than heard, building rapidly to a thunderous, unmistakable crescendo, the beating of massive dragon wings. Each powerful stroke creates a gust of wind that whips cloaks into a frenzy and sets armor rattling. The party freezes, a collective intake of breath audible in the momentary lull between wing beats. Kithri's hand moves to her weapon with a soft scrape of leather. Wyrmraex's scales rasp as he tenses, ready for action. The twins shift their stances in perfect unison, the whisper of their movement barely perceptible beneath the growing roar. Malveth's prayer beads click together, a staccato rhythm that matches the quickening pace of their heartbeats. None dare turn to face the source of the sound. Their eyes dart back and forth, meeting each other's gazes in silent, terrified communication.
The portal's opening. Whatever's out there, we need to move, now.
Through the portal, quickly before it's too late.
The thunderous wing beats reach a deafening crescendo, spurring the party into action. As one, they surge forward, a cacophony of clanking armor, rasping scales and pounding feet. The portal's hum swells to a roar, its energy crackling through the air with an electric intensity. As they step through the shimmering gateway, they catch a fleeting glimpse of a sight that freezes the very blood in their veins. A colossal black dragon, its scales gleaming like polished obsidian, perches on a jagged outcropping. Each scale scrapes against the next with a sound like 1,000 swords being drawn. Its massive body blocks out what little light filters through the ashen sky, casting a shadow that seems to swallow all hope. The dragon's eyes, ancient and knowing, bore into their very souls. Those eyes promise terrors yet to come, their gaze a physical weight that presses against the mind with an almost audible force. The air around the beast crackles with malevolent energy, a low, ominous hum that sets their teeth on edge and makes their skin crawl.
By the Raven Queen's dark grace.
It's just watching us. Why is it just watching?
Why isn't it attacking? Surely we're no match for such a beast.
Our heroes stand transfixed on the other side of the portal, their ragged breathing the only sound breaking the stillness of the material plane. Before them, the portal pulses with a rhythmic, otherworldly hum. Through its shimmering surface, the dragon's unblinking stare never wavers. The beast remains motionless, save for the slow, deliberate expansion and contraction of its massive chest. Each breath sounds like distant thunder, a reminder of the raw power contained within that obsidian-scaled form. The dragon's eyes, dark pools of ancient intelligence, seem to bore into each of them in turn. There's an almost audible weight to that gaze, as if the very air grows heavier under its scrutiny. It's sizing them up, committing every detail to its terrible memory. The promise of future malice hangs in the air like the lingering notes of a funeral dirge. The portal's hum intensifies, rising in pitch and volume. Arcs of energy crackle across its surface with a sound like tearing fabric. The air grows thick with ozone, its sharp scent stinging nostrils and catching in throats. With a final, thunderous pulse of arcane energy that sets teeth rattling and ears ringing, the portal seals shut. The sudden absence of its hum leaves a void, quickly filled by the soft sounds of the material plane. A gentle breeze rustling leaves, distant birdsong, the babble of a nearby stream. These ordinary noises seem alien after the oppressive silence of the Shadowfell, almost too vibrant and alive. The party stands motionless, the memory of those ancient, calculating eyes seared into their minds. The weight of their encounter settles over them like a physical burden, audible in the collective exhale that escapes their lips, as they finally begin to stir from their trance-like state. Yet even as the familiar sounds of the material plane wash over them, one question echoes in the silence between heartbeats. What terrible plans does that ancient beast have in store? And when will they find themselves once again in its sights?
Dragons of that size and power don't simply wander into the Shadowfell on a whim. Something is gravely amiss here.
Wyrmraex speaks true. That beast's presence was no mere coincidence. We've stumbled into something far larger than we anticipated.
The magic required for a dragon to traverse the plains is considerable, to say the least. It's not a feat many would attempt without dire cause or great purpose.
We must face an unpleasant truth. Our mission may well have been compromised from the start. The possibility of a spy within the company can no longer be ignored. We've no time to waste on speculation. The seaside town is our next destination, and we must reach it before nightfall. From there, we sail for Draketide Cove. Now, let us make haste.
The party nods in grim agreement, their determination tempered by newfound fear. They set off towards the distant horizon. The spectre of the Black Dragon hangs heavy in their thoughts. The creak of weathered planks announces the arrival of our weary travellers. Kithri, Wyrmraex, Malveth, Lyra and Kaelin step onto the docks, leaving behind the eerie silence of the Shadowfell. The transition is jarring, sounds of daily life assaulting their senses after the oppressive quiet of the Twilight realm. A briny sea breeze sweeps across the harbour, carrying with it a myriad of scents and sounds. It tousles Kithri's hair, the soft whisper a stark contrast to the clink of her armour. Malveth's prayer beads click softly as he clutches them, a quiet anchor in this sea of noise. The twins, Lyra and Kaelin, move in perfect unison, their soft footfalls lost beneath the crescendo of port life. The dock thrums with energy. Boots stomp on wooden planks, creating a steady percussion. Merchants haggle in a dozen different languages, their voices rising and falling like the tide. From a nearby tavern comes the strains of a jaunty sea shanty, accompanied by the clinking of mugs and raucous laughter. All around, the warm, golden glow of the afternoon sun bathes the sea, its heat a palpable presence after the chill of the Shadowfell. It glints off the water, creating a dazzling display that seems to make the very air shimmer with possibilities. The memory of draconic eyes and shadowy realms lingers, a quiet undercurrent beneath the lively bustle of the port.
Once we're aboard, there's something of grave importance you all need to know about our mission.
The creaking timbers of the ship's deck protest beneath the feet of our heroes as they brace against the rolling waves. Salt-laden wind howls through the rigging, its mournful keen punctuated by the sharp snap of canvas sails straining against their ropes. This tempestuous symphony serves as a fitting backdrop to the gravity of the moment.
We sail for Draketide Cove, but our path is fraught with danger. Reports have come in of lizard folk tribes launching savage attacks on the surrounding towns and farms. But that, my friends, is merely the tip of the iceberg. There have been sightings, credible sightings, of 2 large black dragons in the area. And after our harrowing encounter in the Shadowfell, I fear these events may be more than mere coincidence. We may be facing a threat far greater than we initially believed.
Wyrmraex's voice, low and resonant, barely carries over the maritime cacophony. Yet it commands the rapt attention of his companions. Kithri stands rigid, her armor clinking softly as she shifts her weight with the ship's motion. The twins, Lyra and Kaelin, are uncharacteristically still, their usual fluid grace replaced by a tense alertness that's almost palpable in the air. Malveth's prayer beads click a steady rhythm, barely audible above the wind's howl. It's a soothing counterpoint to the tension that crackles like static electricity around the group. Each of Wyrmraex's words seems to land with physical weight, causing sharp intakes of breath or soft murmurs of disbelief from his listeners. As his narrative unfolds, the very air seems to thicken with anticipation. The normal sounds of the ship, the distant shouts of sailors, the creak of the mast, the eternal slap of waves against the hull, all fade into the background.
Black dragons? Here? So close to civilized lands?
Are we? Are we truly prepared for this? This is far beyond what we expected.
The ominous creak of the ship's timbers underscores the heavy silence that follows Wyrmraex's revelation. Lyra and Kaelin, the Shadar-kai twins, exchange worried glances. The soft rustle of their clothing as they turn towards each other is deafening in the unnatural quiet. Their earlier bravado evaporates like morning mist under the scorching heat of this new information. A shaky exhale escapes Lyra's lips, barely audible but heavy with unspoken fear. Kaelin's teeth grind audibly, a physical manifestation of his growing tension. Malveth's hands come to rest on the twins' shoulders, one on each. The contact is gentle, but the impact is immediate and audible. Lyra's sharp intake of breath and Kaelin's slow, deliberate exhale speak volumes of the calming influence Malveth exudes. It's as if his touch has grounded them, providing an anchor in the storm of their emotions.
Have faith, my friends. The Raven Queen's blessings go with us, and our strength lies not just in our individual abilities, but in our unity.
The somber mood on the ship's deck shatters in an instant. A new sound cuts through the maritime ambience, the rhythmic, powerful beating of massive wings. It starts as a distant thrum, quickly growing to a thunderous crescendo that drowns out the creak of rigging and the slap of waves against the hull. The twins, Lyra and Kaelin, startle at the sound. Their synchronous gasp is sharp and sudden, punctuated by the scrape of boots on wooden planks as they instinctively move closer together. The soft clink of their weapons being hastily drawn adds a note of urgency to the tense atmosphere. A smirk crosses Kithri's face as the others stare up in awe and apprehension. Kithri points up at the distant creature and tracks its path through the sky with her finger. All eyes turn skyward, following the line of Kithri's outstretched arm. The sound of collective, indrawn breaths is audible even over the thunderous wing beats. For there, soaring majestically above the ship, is a sight that steals the very air from their lungs. A red dragon, massive and magnificent, dominates the sky. Each powerful sweep of its wings sends gusts of wind across the deck, causing ropes to snap taut and sails to billow with audible cracks. The sun glints off its scales, creating a dazzling display that seems to paint the very air in shades of crimson and gold. The dragon's presence is overwhelming, not just visually but aurally. Its flight is a symphony of power, the whoosh of displaced air, the leathery stretch of wing membranes, the occasional earth-shaking roar that seems to make the very timbers of the ship vibrate in response. On the deck, the party's reactions create their own chorus. Armor clinks as bodies tense, ready for action. Weapons rasp against scabbards as hands instinctively seek reassurance in steel. Breathing quickens, a staccato rhythm of anticipation and fear. As the dragon wheels overhead, its shadow briefly engulfing the ship in a moment of artificial twilight.
Peace, my friends. That's no enemy approaching. That's Dragil Doin, my dear friend and loyal companion. She'll be our guardian as we traverse these treacherous waters.
By all the gods, I've never been so happy to be wrong about a dragon.
I think I aged a decade in those few seconds. Remind me to thank your friend properly when we're back on solid ground, Kithri.
The thunderous wing beats of Dragildoin fade to a steady, reassuring rhythm overhead. In its wake, a palpable wave of relief washes over the deck. Above, Dragildoin's presence is a constant comfort. Each sweep of their mighty wings sends a gust of wind across the deck, causing ropes to creak and sails to flutter with a sound like distant applause. Their occasional roar, now more reassuring than threatening, echoes across the waves. The ship comes alive beneath their feet. Sailors call to one another, their voices a melodic din of purpose and excitement. Ropes strain and wood groans as the sails catch the wind. The anchor chain rattles as it's drawn up, each link clanking against the hull in a rising crescendo of departure. With a final resounding splash, the anchor breaks free of the water. The ship lurches forward, timbers creaking in protest before settling into the rhythmic sway of the open sea. The sound of water rushing past the hull builds, a constant, soothing whisper of adventure and possibility. As the party stands on the deck, their forms silhouetted against the setting sun, the myriad sounds of their departure blend into a symphony of new beginnings. The familiar sounds of the harbour fade into the distance, replaced by the open song of the sea, the gentle lapping of waves, the whisper of wind in the sails, the distant cry of seabirds, and above it all the steady beat of Dragildoin's wings. Brave adventurers, your journey through the realms of Ithoria has only just begun. The echoes of battle may fade, but the call to adventure rings eternal. Will you answer that call? Will you delve deeper into the mysteries that await, unravel the secrets of the Drake-Tide coast, and face the darkness that threatens to consume all? The choice is yours, hero. Don't miss a single moment of this epic saga. Like this video to fuel the fires of adventure, and subscribe to our channel to ensure your place among the legends of Ithoria. Hit that notification bell, and you'll be the first to know when new episodes drop. Until next time, may your critical hits be many, and your fumbles few.